Most people know Jake Thomas as Matt McGuire, Lizzie's mischievous little brother from Lizzie McGuire. He was hilarious, sneaky, and often the chaotic little storm that followed Hilary Duff's character everywhere she went. But then, he kinda just disappeared. No dramatic exit, no huge farewell tour, just vanished. So what happened to Jake Thomas? Why did he step away from Hollywood when his career was just taking off? And what made him come back all these years later in the most unexpected way, as a villainous tech billionaire in a video game? Well, turns out Jake's story isn't one of scandal or downfall. It's actually something a lot of child stars struggle with, figuring out who they are when the cameras stop rolling. Jake didn't really plan to walk away from acting. He just hit a point in his life where he wanted something more than just being Matt McGuire forever. After the spotlight faded a bit, Jake decided to shift his focus entirely. He threw himself into school, took classes, and explored what he could do outside of the industry. He didn't want to coast on being a former child star. He wanted to know if he could make it on his own, away from the Disney legacy. And let's be real, how many child actors actually managed to do that? For Jake, it was never about fame or red carpets. It was about growth. He studied, he worked, and he even took up photography. In fact, he spent years behind the scenes, working on production crews for TV shows, something most fans probably never even knew. But during all that time, he wasn't lost. He was evolving. He was becoming the kind of person who didn't need the limelight to define him. And while many fans were wondering where Matt McGuire had gone, Jake Thomas was out there, living life, learning, and quietly figuring out who he wanted to be. Fast forward to now, nearly 25 years after Lizzie McGuire premiered, and Jake is stepping back into the spotlight, but not in the way you'd expect. No, he's not popping up in some reboot or trying to recreate his Disney glory days. He's returning as Marco Silva, a ruthless, egotistical tech billionaire in the highly anticipated video game MindsEye. Yeah, you heard that right. He went from being Lizzie's little brother to playing a full-blown villain in a next-gen single-player thriller. Talk about a glow-up. Jake says playing Marco Silva was an insane experience. The technology behind the game was mind-blowing. And for him, the whole thing felt fresh, intense, and creatively fulfilling in a way he hadn't experienced before. It's a huge departure from anything he's done before, and that's exactly why he wanted to do it. He wanted something challenging, something dark, something that reminded him why he fell in love with acting in the first place. And yes, he's played villains before. Since his Disney days, he's popped up in multiple crime dramas and procedurals, often playing the creepy guy who either is the killer or might be the killer. So, while Marco Silva isn't his first bad guy, he might just be his best. But don't get it twisted. Jake Thomas doesn't regret his Disney past. In fact, he's incredibly grateful for it. Playing Matt McGuire gave him a platform and a loyal fan base that still remembers him decades later. And even though he's moved on to more mature and edgy roles, he still looks back at that time with appreciation. He says he wouldn't trade any of his experiences for the world, and that all those different chapters, Disney star, college student, crew member, photographer, villainous tech bro, made him who he is today. What's even more impressive is that Jake chose the harder path. He could have milked his Disney fame for years, hopping from one nostalgic cameo to another. But instead, he chose to fade into the background, build a new skill set, and come back on his terms. That takes guts. That takes humility. And most of all, that takes a deep belief in your own ability to evolve. Now that he's back in the spotlight, fans are wondering if this is the beginning of a full-blown acting comeback for Jake. Will he continue diving into darker, more complex roles? Will he ever reunite with his Lizzie McGuire co-stars for a one-off special or reboot? For now, Jake's staying quiet about what's next. But one thing's for sure. He's not the same kid who used to set traps for Lizzie and drive his family crazy with his schemes. He's grown, sharpened, and clearly ready to take on Hollywood from a whole new angle. So if you're one of the many who wondered what happened to Jake Thomas after Lizzie McGuire, now you know. He didn't fade away. He was just leveling up behind the scenes. And now, he's back, more talented and grounded than ever, with a villainous edge that's hard to ignore. From mischievous little brother to twisted tech mogul, Jake's journey proves that sometimes, stepping away is the most powerful move you can make.